Welcome to Cutthroat Outdoors. We're here in Pueblo. We just got off Pueblo Reservoir. I did a little bit of walleye and smallmouth bass fishing. It wasn't great. It was like 72, 73 degrees the water was. So really what we were hoping to do was film a 3-month follow-up to purchasing the new boat and give you a little bit of insight about how the first 3 months have gone with the boat, how the buying process went, and really just sort of do a quick review of things that we like, if we've had any problems with it, and maybe some changes we'd like to make. So again, this is our 2019 Tracker Targa V-19 Combo, and this is the model that comes with seating for 8, so there's technically 6 seats in the back, 2 seats up front. The additions that we've made to this tracker is the 200 horsepower Mercury Pro XS 4-stroke motor. We added a 9.9 Mercury Pro kicker to this boat. We also added the Minn Kota Altera with the iPilot link, and we also added both of our Garmin screens to this. The other upgrades to this boat, if you haven't watched our first new boat video, was we opted for the vinyl carpeting within this boat, and we also opted for like a $700 cover that comes on this boat. 3 months in, we've been on the water probably 20 times, and the boat itself is great. I love it. It handles wonderfully in the waves. It does a great job trolling. It maneuvers really well. It gets up to here. So remember, we're in Colorado. So at altitude, we get it up to about 45, 47 miles an hour with the regular screw that comes on the motor. The space is incredible. There's lots and lots of storage for all of our rods and our baits and hard tackle and so forth. Problems that we've had with it, I'll be honest, the first few months have been rough dealing with Bass Pro in Colorado Springs. We purchased the boat there, and when we purchased it, we added the 9.9 Mercury Pro kicker to it, and when we picked it up, the Mercury Pro kicker didn't work. One of the speakers didn't work. The gauge that shows your trim didn't work, and so we've brought it back to them. We ended up bringing it back to them 5 times over the course of the last 3 months, and it was incredibly frustrating. They said that the prime bulb on the kicker was the problem. Then they said that the kicker motor itself was the problem, and they said that there's some problem with the Mercury 9.9 kickers where they have to literally take the carb off and put it back on for some reason, and then it's supposed to work. The trim gauge they've replaced, and it's still, out of the full motion of the large motor, you get maybe the motion of a quarter of the trim gauge itself. So that's kind of frustrating. I personally use the trim gauge a lot when I'm at speed to sort of see, okay, you know, where's the trim versus my RPMs and what speed we're going, and try to figure out sort of the most efficient way to do things. So I'm constantly watching my trim gauge, and now it's sort of gotten to the point where it'll move maybe a quarter of the full movement of the gauge, and at this point that's just kind of what I have to accept, I guess. They say that this trim gauge doesn't work well with this motor because this motor is meant to have a digital gauge, and this is an analog gauge, and for some reason they're not speaking well. My question is, Tracker, if you put a motor on here that's meant to have a digital gauge, why don't you just put a digital gauge in your boat so we can actually utilize the trim gauge? I will tell you one thing, the sales manager, it's a lady at Bass Pro Colorado Springs. Once I finally reached out to her after my 5th time taking this boat in, she was very helpful, and finally sort of, I guess, got on the case of their marine repair group or whatever, they Tracker Boat Pros or whatever, and ensured that they actually tested the kicker motor out prior to giving it to me. I know one time one of the times we got it back, the kicker motor would turn on and there was absolutely no throttle response, and I mean, it was I've read a lot of reviews about the Bass Pro and their repair department, and unfortunately I thought, you know, I've had a Tracker boat before, it can't be that bad, and I probably should have listened to some of the reviews because it was extremely unprofessional how they've handled everything. The one gentleman was yelling at me on the phone, who's their Mercury Pro Tech at Bass Pro Colorado Springs, and like it's my fault that the kicker motor is not working. And the other gentleman said that I don't understand how trim gauges work. I'm pretty certain I understand how trim gauges work. It's just a gauge, you read it. But whatever. I guess the last time we brought it in, the gentleman, the Mercury Pro Tech in the Springs, forgot to attach the throttle cable to the kicker motor. And for some reason, he thought that I had gone in there and disconnected it. And he's definitely a less than nice person. And I can't say that I would, in the future, go back to them outside of a warranty work. The other problem that we've had with the $700 top option that we got is that it's a really cool ratchet strap, but unfortunately the ratchet strap on one side is already slipping, so it doesn't really catch, and the ratchet strap on this side twice now has sort of just kept winding the wire around itself and gets completely stuck. So that's going to have to go back to them. The last time they fixed it by literally cutting off rope and feeding it through, and I just have to deal with a short rope. Well, now they've sort of cut it off to the point where I don't have any more rope for them to cut off, so I guess they get to give me a new top. Outside of that, I absolutely love this boat. The Minn Kota Altera that we opted for is great when it does work. I'll tell you that the transducer on it leaves a lot to be desired. It has a hard time finding bottom. It definitely doesn't tell me if there's any fish or any markings down there. I can't see whether it's sort of a hard bottom or whether there's weed growth or anything like that. It's just a very fuzzy bottom that I get on it. Occasionally I'll be at like 18 feet and for some reason I'll think we're at like 70 feet. So I think I'm gonna have to send that back to Minn Kota for the second time now. The first time we had to send it back because I have the auto deploy feature on it, and it will automatically deploy, except for it'll sort of like catch a hitch right here and then have a warning light and just shut down or not respond. So when I'm fishing alone, I back my boat down, let it float off, hit the auto deploy feature on my Minn Kota Altera, which is the main reason that I bought this motor, and let it float off, and then I'll just put spot lock, and it will stay there while I go and park the trailer and then walk back and get on my boat. Here, in temperatures under 40 degrees, I don't know if it's like a cold weather thing, but it definitely hitches. And one time I had to swim after it. That probably shouldn't happen if I'm buying a $3,000 trolling motor. I sent it back to Minn Kota. They said they weren't able to replicate it and that they've had no problems with it. I'm gonna have to send it back to them again. I'm really disappointed with Minn Kota. I asked them to call me when they were testing it so I could explain, look, it's a cold weather thing. It happens the worst on the very first time here. Our rep in Colorado Springs who went to fix it, I've had to go to him 3 times for the trolling motor for the same exact issue. He was able to replicate it, and essentially he determined that he can't figure out why it's doing that. So he made me mail it to Minn Kota, which is about $80 and shipping it. They had it for a month over the winter and it still has the same problems. So I don't like going without my trolling motor during the summer, so I guess once the season's over, we're shipping it back to them. Hopefully at this point, they'll just replace it with a new one. They said that's not in their warranty work and they don't have to do that. So we'll see. Minn Kota, their service center, I probably, now that Garmin has come out with its own trolling motor, I probably won't buy another Minn Kota trolling motor. But things that I want to add to the boat, I'll probably end up changing the trolling motor out eventually. The speakers in this boat are okay. As far as sound quality is concerned, they're not great. I have some Infinity indoor-outdoor speakers, or Infinity Marine speakers that I'll be putting in here. I appreciate that. The PRV-18, which is like the boat's Bluetooth radio, drops signal often, and I can't find anywhere on any YouTube channel or online how to pair it. So unless you have your instruction booklet, good luck figuring that out on the water. But other than that, again, like, I truly love my boat. I would buy it again. I'd probably not buy it from Bass Pro Colorado Springs. I'd probably go to Bass Pro Denver or something like that. They seem to be a little bit more reputable than the Springs outfit. And yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys maybe have better luck, but the YouTube videos that I've seen on people that have owned their brand new 2019 Tracker V-19 Targa combos have also had the same issues. So we're gonna wash this down so you guys can kind of see what the clear coat, the ceramic coating looks like on it when it's clean. I know that we had a video, a few videos back, that sort of showed that we went and we ceramic coated the inside and the outside and the windshield and all the leather and the vinyl. So this will be sort of your chance to check up on it 3 months after it's been complete. And thanks again for watching Cutthroat Outdoors. I appreciate you guys tuning in.